Up everyone, Alex back here with an update on how my enrollment process is going and also how my pre-study is going, if you want to call it that. So first off, in the last video, I kind of outlined how things are going to come down to the wire. Now things are coming down to the wire. Now, I took my last two finals on study.com on the 19th. As of literally 30 minutes ago at 12:55 p.m. 12:55 Pacific time, study.com got back to me and they gave me all my passing grades basically. So I have now just sent an email request to transfer my transcripts over to WGU. It is my hope that that gets there as soon as possible. On the 27th, WGU will do a transcript request and they will determine whether they can find it or not. Hopefully they can, and within this week they're able to, I guess, grade it and see how it goes and whatnot and receive it. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. I don't know how fast the study.com transfer goes. I'm hoping it comes fast. But I don't know. It could happen, could not happen. Who knows? So it's coming down to the wire. Again, what happens if it doesn't get in by the 1st or the 30th, I should say, then basically what happens is I have to start in March. I really want to start in January, or February rather. So I'm really hoping that it gets here in by the 22nd. I did email the team on Monday to see if they can expedite. It kind of worked. It kind of expedited. Kind of didn't. I'm probably going to send them an email to see if they can ensure that my transcript gets there. Because when I sent it, I got an email basically saying it could take 3 days for study.com to send it to WGU. I'm really hoping that it can be done by Friday, tomorrow. And then when they do the request on Tuesday, they can find it. That's what I'm really hoping for. But it's possible that it doesn't happen. So it's down to the wire. We'll see what happens. And I'm hoping for the best. Now to move on to our second topic, if you've been following along about my pre-study, basically I know the classes I should theoretically be taking. It's these 12 classes, and I'm currently trying to pre-study as many of them as I can. And I'm letting you know how it's going. So I have a flashcard of 112 vocabs. I will do a video later about it, but basically what I'm doing is I'm using a mix of Quizlet and Anki. And if you don't know, Anki is basically, once you get into your short-term memory, Anki gives you regular reviews every single day to basically get it into your mid to long-term memory in a relatively short amount of time. It's basically the only systemized version of doing it, basically. Quizlet has a function on doing it now. I don't know how good it is. I just know Anki's been around for a long time. So basically what I've done is I'm going through Reddit posts, getting the Quizlets people say are super helpful, trying to memorize them so that when I finally have the class in front of me, I already have 80% of what I need to know in my head, and I only need to memorize the last 20% or whatever concepts that I didn't fully grasp because I'm just understanding vocabulary, not necessarily the concepts. So I'll kind of do my methodology here. So this is kind of what I have. So I have an ethics and technology deck that I memorized in the short-term memory, and every single day it reviews it to get into my long-term memory. While that gets reviewed, after that I start studying my new my new deck, which right now I should be done with this by today. And so after today, when I have all these memorized, like tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll have to review 20 from each deck to make sure it's still in my long-term or my short and long-term memory. And the more and more I review, basically the goal is once I have these all memorized, every single day I'll do a small amount of review. By the time it gets to the end of January, most, if not all, the terms should be in my midterm memory, hopefully. Now, I'm taking this concept and extrapolating it out quite a bit, where I also, after I do these, I'm going to do this multiple choice. There's this thing called QuizSoar that I found that basically has a bunch of questions, multiple choice questions regarding software quality assurance. It's a multiple choice question thing, and you're just going to keep going through it over and over. I'm going to keep practicing until I get at least a 90%. Now, this can't be put in Anki. Well, it can. It'll just be like a long process to put in Anki. We'll see if I can do that or not. It takes a lot of time to make them in Anki, so I don't know if I'm going to have someone help me, i.e. hire a virtual assistant to help me do that, or maybe I'll just spend a couple hours to do it myself. if I don't put it into Anki, in order to make sure that these multiple choice questions get into my long-term memory, once I can get it down to a 90%, I will review it every 2 to 3 days. Basically, if you review every 2 to 3 days and can consistently get 90%, well, basically, after, if you do it over the course of a month, you do it, 9 times over the course of every 2 to 3 days, right? It's going to be in your long-term memory. Same thing, there's a 715 multiple choice questions. I'm going to keep practicing that until I get 90%. The day I can get 90%, after that, every 2 to 3 days, I'll go back through and start punching them through. This one kind of makes more sense to do Anki because it's such a huge deck. We'll see, though. And then, operating system for programming. The more and more I research it, it was just updated in August, and I keep hearing that, 1, it's super hard, and 2, it does build off computer architecture. It does make sense because operating system is literally just like a quarter of what computer architecture is. It is just a full course on that. So it's also recommended that you memorize 700 vocabulary words. So I am trying to, and I'm literally trying to do this in the next 8 days. And my brain, it gets mush every single day. So in the next week or so, I am trying to memorize 1,060 vocabulary words into my short-term memory, basically. And also memorize 963 multiple choice questions. Now, the caveat with the multiple choice questions is, in my opinion, it's significantly easier to memorize the answer to a multiple choice question than it is to memorize vocabulary word. Because a vocabulary word, you have to regurgitate a lot more as opposed to just memorizing what the right answer was on the multiple choice. That is my opinion. Multiple choice, it's so much easier on study.com because you can just sit there and grind it out in an hour. You could, get the majority of the practice tests done very easily. So my goal is by the end of this month, have all these answers in the basically in the short-term memory. And then every day in January, my Anki will force me to review them. So, out of all this is what? 2,000 some terms. Every single day, Anki will basically make me review 200 terms, basically. And another 200 terms here, 200 terms here, 200 terms here. Every single day for 30 days to attempt to get these 2,000 words into my mid to, long-term memory, basically, by the time I even start any of these classes. Now, after that, once I get them, ideally, I can have it done no later than January 1st. I am going to watch videos. I watched on Reddit a lot of people who posted helpful videos on computer architecture and operating systems for programmers. A bunch of videos, and I'm probably just going to sit down and just for 20 hours this first week. This is how it's going to be. In this first week, ideally, I have all those memorized. This week, I'm going to probably watch 20 hours of computer architecture and operating system high-level overview videos. Now, the point is not to master this, but the point is to get exposure to all these concepts, put some high conceptual level overview to all these terms. Because here's the thing, I have all these floating terms in my head, but I really don't know how they fit together. I don't have the conceptual piece of it. The nice thing about me already having the definitions in my head is that the moment someone tells me what the conceptual framework is, I guarantee you it will be significantly easier for me to put everything together. Basically, for me to put the pieces together. I mean, because I already have a huge portion of it memorized theoretically, and so when I actually go take the course, when I have to study the specific concepts, I would have theoretically been exposed to them, hopefully within these 20 hours. So then when I'm learning it, I'm just kind of relearning something I've seen before. And typically, it is almost always easier to relearn something you've seen before than something that's not. Now, the second week of January, my goal is to learn the Python and C++ basics. Again, that's Python and C++ basics here in week 2. I have a very solid understanding of JavaScript, and that's why, in fact, these programming classes scare me the least, because I have been self-learning programming, front-end, back-end programming for the last year. So I actually have a pretty good understanding of how things work. So I have a pretty good feeling, and I could be wrong. Maybe 2 months from now, I make a video saying how these classes were harder than I expected, but I want to learn the basics of Python for the data structures algorithm course. I want to learn the C++ basics because I've never learned C++. I need to learn the basic syntax. in order to do the application class or the, yeah, whatever. Let's see, scripting and programming applications. Here it's a pretty simple project, and there's a lot of people who haven't learned C++ before who can do it in a couple days. So that's kind of my goal. Is like I'm trying to pre-learn C++. And then after that, I'm going to spend about 20 hours learning Java. I already know basics of Java because I had to do the study.com class, but they actually didn't have you like code a lot. And I was able to figure out some things for the artificial intelligence class with Java. But I hear these two classes require you to know up to Java FX. So I'm going to watch Code with Mosh. It's probably going to take me about 20 hours that week, this third week. And then this week here, I guess the fourth week of January, I will spend 20 hours freshening up on discrete math 2. From my understanding, a lot of the concepts from study.com discrete math actually is the same as in the discrete math in discrete math at WGU. So I'm going to freshen up on the concepts that overlapped, and then in whatever remaining time left, I'm going to learn the new concepts. Ideally at a high level, or hopefully I can do it all. There's a lot of things posted on the internet about what to learn. So probably about 20 hours this week. Ideally by then I know what my first couple courses are, and then these last couple days, I mean, there's not much. I'll probably take a break, or I'll just start preparing for my first class, basically. So that's kind of my plan. We'll see how it goes. I have a long journey ahead of me. Worst case, what happens is if I do have to start in March, what's going to happen is I'm just going to have more time to go through and digest all this stuff. I'm probably going to learn 20 hours of Python, 20 hours of C++, and 30 hours of Java. Discrete math, I'll probably know literally 90% of it before I even get to the class. You can buy books online that give you practice problems in discrete math. Now, it's possible that what's on the test isn't, there. Who knows? But I'm probably doing my best. I don't know what else I can do other than this to pre-study the classes to get my best leg up. So, yeah, that's going to be it. The only class I'm really not pre-studying is the ITIL. I don't know how hard it is. And I hear it can be pretty hard, but honestly, I'm learning so much. Maybe I'll start learning ITIL if I have to do if I have an extra month. But to be fair, I only have so much time and I can only learn so much because I'm limited on time. I work a job. I have a job. And yeah, so I can only do so much. And that is kind of my plan. That is kind of the update. Let me know if you have any questions or you have any tips on how I can pre-study. If you have some helpful tips that are different than kind of what I'm showing. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.